Hey, everybody, and welcome to Schoolism Interviews mini-series. In her artistic career, Karla Ortiz's work has been wide and varied. As a concept artist, Karla has worked for amazing studios such as Ubisoft, Industrial Light and Magic, Universal Studios, and Marvel Studios, and many more. As a professional illustrator, her images have been featured on covers and in books. As a fine artist, she has shown in the Studio Gallery SF, the Safe House Studios shows, Spoke Art Gallery, Nucleus Gallery, and Think Space. So without further ado, here is the wonderful, the incredible Karla Ortiz. Please enjoy. So you've had the wonderful opportunity to work on super cool illustrations like for Magic the Gathering, as well as live action films. So I want to ask you, what's the difference in skill sets that you want people to be aware of between working on illustrations like Magic the Gathering or films?
All right. So, both working for illustration and for film is very, very similar because they both rely on good composition, good design, good lighting. All of these things are very important. The major difference between film and illustration work is time. For film, you don't have a lot of time to create pieces. Let's say and it also changes wildly depending on where you work. I know some places, and I've worked in some places where you need to send in like 2 or 3 characters designs by the end of the day. That's just how it goes. But there are other places that will give you a little bit more time, so you're able to deliver something like a really awesome, well thought out character design in like a day or two, and so on. To take it to final, also add like maybe a day or two extra depending on complexity. However, for illustration, and by the way, really quickly, that whole process includes sketching, includes, the revisions done back and forth between you and your director or your art director, and so on. For illustration, however, that process is elongated by a lot. There's usually, and depending as well on when you work, you usually get about anywhere from like 5 to 7 weeks just to do one image. Why? Because that one singular image is what's going to sell with a trading cards, what's going to sell a book cover. It's going to be the face of the product. So you really want to take your time in it. And there's usually a more intense, back and forth sketch, revision process. Well, you'll send in a sketch, and then the art directors will get together and they'll decide, okay, this is what works for the product. This is the right direction. This isn't the right direction. So I feel with my illustration work, I'm able to get a higher degree of render, or at least final, like at least a very strong polish than I do get to do in most of my film work. However, that's not to say that my film work is any less polished, because what you're trying to get across with film is an idea, a very clear and strong idea. If you're able to accurately depict that, whether it's through intelligent paint brushes and brush strokes, or sometimes the use of pictures, which it's a tool to be used. Again, I personally I'm not a fan of it because I like to paint everything. But you can use these tools, 3D as well, to make really, really informed concepts that if anybody sees it, they know what's going on, and that's the key. Versus an illustration, you get to that point and then you push it way further than that. It's almost like you overstate it. Though sometimes you can get away with a lot of loose work as well, depending on what the purpose of that cover is. Yeah, I think that's about it in terms of work or design or anything of that nature. It's still the same.
Now, a huge part of the success of this channel and everything that I do is because of you, the listener, so thank you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and then press the notification button, because that way you'll get instant notification the next time I put out a new video. Thank you very much.